Okay, this is going to be a review of some of the soju in South Korea. I don't have all the kinds of soju with me, at least not in front of me. I'll be adding more to this video, so I should be able to get all the different kinds of soju. I kind of want to get all the different kinds of soju and like brands and flavors and different sizes because these are all the 12 ounce, 360 milliliters, and they're glass bottles. But they also have smaller bottles for like in your pocket or backpack, and I think most of those, if not all of those, are plastic. And then they have the really big like liter bottles, like this big around, something like that. Um, those are, I think, always. I'm pretty sure those are always plastic. And with those, the big ones, sometimes it's the same alcohol percentage as the soju in the glass bottle. So you can get the same brand, same alcohol percentage, same flavor, everything. Or sometimes you can get the same brand, but then it's higher alcohol percentage. Like I think I've had 32%, something like that before. So that might even just be the unwatered down soju. Some people call that cooking soju because this higher alcohol percentage doesn't taste as good and it's not watered down. It's higher alcohol. If you don't know what soju is alcohol. It's basically like Korean vodka that's fermented from rice. And sake and soju are both fermented from rice. But then soju is also distilled after it's fermented from rice. And I don't know sake as well, but soju doesn't need to be fermented just from rice. They also make soju from sweet potato, tapioca. I think there's more, but yeah, at least rice, sweet potato, tapioca. And one reason why they switched it up was during the Korean War, they didn't have as much rice available, and so people were eating the rice instead of making soju, and they're mixing it up, trying to figure out different ways that they could make soju. They might have already known this before, but they didn't do it as often. But then they used tapioca and sweet potatoes to make soju. And yeah, I have a good variety of soju in front of me. Let's see here. They're almost all unopened. I just went to the grocery store. Like I said, they're almost all unopened. These two and these two are opened, but I wanted to buy a new soju. I didn't want to buy the same flavors I had before. I'll start with the ones that were opened already because I don't know, some people aren't as interested in ones like that because they're already open or they're already drank, and then I'm just saying my opinion on it. They like to see people actually open a bottle and drink it and see their reaction. But anyways, the pomegranate soju. The pomegranate soju is really good. The sun's a little bit too harsh. Here we go. Okay. Pomegranate soju. This one was so easy to drink. This one was dangerous. This one didn't taste like there was any alcohol. Sorry. Sorry about that. But yeah, the pomegranate soju, definitely recommend it. It's delicious. It's the I'm gonna butcher all the names. I know how to read Korean, but I'm not the best at reading and pronouncing it the correct way. But Chongnyeon Dae Sakyo. Okay. Oh, and if you don't know with soju, which if you don't know soju, you probably don't know this is either. So on this bottle, I'm guessing the 0.1% here. It's going to be really hard to see in the video, but there's a 0.1% there. That's probably for how much actual juices in it or something like that, how much pomegranate. And then to get the alcohol percentage, you have to look at the top of the soju. So it used to be a little bit easier to find back 7 years ago, last time I lived in Korea. So now you can find it on the tops, and it's written really small. I'll add a picture of it to the video, but you won't be able to see in the actual video. But 16.9% is for this one. 16.9. Yeah, 16.9%. I thought it said 16.99 at first. And soju used to be around 19 to 21%, basically across the board all the time. In 19 to 21%. Now this is 16.9. These might all be, yeah, that's 16.9. This one is 25. Oh wait, no, is it 25? Yeah, this one's 25% alcohol. And you can see the 25 on there. There isn't a percentage sign at the 25. But then on the top, around the lip, where the bumps are, you can see the 25%. You would think on the front and on the back they would have 25% as well. It might be written somewhere in Korean. And I just, oh, never mind. I see it. But it's hidden in the middle of the wording on there. So, and again, it's hard to see because the sun's so bright right now. Yeah, this one, the Gumbuk Ju. Gumbukjo. This one is 25% alcohol. So that one I'll try last. This one, okay, I thought one of them had it in the front. This one says 20.1%, and it just makes sense to have it on the front. For one thing, especially if it's a higher alcohol content, I think it makes sense in Korea for them to be putting the alcohol percentage on the front, because now the alcohol percentage is lower for most of them, so they should advertise that it's higher, just so their customers that are looking for that can find it easily. Okay, so pomegranate one, delicious. Put that over there. The grapefruit one. The grapefruit is also really good. The aftertaste is better than the initial taste. The initial taste is good. It does taste like pomegranate, but the aftertaste tastes a little bit better, a little bit more like pomegranate. And the initial taste, you can still taste the normal soju flavor, which isn't bad. It's just not as good as pomegranate. And this one's 13. Let's see. Is it? Yeah, I believe it's 13%. So the flavored ones are usually about 13% around there. This flavored one is 14%. This is a grape flavored one. Yeah, the pomegranate and the grapefruit, I believe, are both 13%. This grape one, I'll try that after I talk about the ones that are already open. This one that I drank a little bit of because I just need to get something in my throat. This one tastes like normal soju. I think it honestly tastes the same as the 19 or 20% alcohol soju. I mean, it's easy to drink. I guess it tastes a little bit less like alcohol. I mean, it makes sense. There's less alcohol in it. This one, chamisul. This one tastes good. Chamisul, and it says fresh underneath. I don't know if that's part of the name. I don't know what chamisul means. Maybe that means fresh in Korean. And this one is also the 16.9% alcohol, so not very high alcohol content. It goes down smooth, tastes like normal soju, and it's hard for me to explain what soju tastes like because soju kind of has its own unique flavor. So I don't want to say it, but soju tastes like soju for the most part. Not always, but for the most part it does. And people that haven't had soju before probably won't like that description, obviously, because that doesn't help them. I've heard people say it tastes like sour water. I've heard people say it tastes like really, really watered down vodka. Like, I guess a good description of it might be really, really watered down, medium to bad quality vodka. So it's really easy to drink because it's been watered down so much, but it's not good quality. If you drink only soju, you don't eat much food, you don't drink any water, you're basically guaranteed a hangover if you actually get drunk from it. If you don't drink enough to get drunk from it and you're only drinking soju and not eating or drinking anything else, then no, you probably won't have a hangover. But if you actually get drunk just from soju, you don't eat anything, don't drink anything, you're probably going to have a hangover. I mean, I've experienced it more than enough times to know that. So this one, I've never had this soju. It has a little guy on the front. This one looked like it was going to be an old school, higher alcohol content soju, but it's not. It says kombucha on the front in English. And then in Korean it says Soju Hwang Gumbokju. So, okay. So, Soju Hwang Gumbokju. Then in Korea, before you open it, I honestly don't think this does anything. I don't think it helps. I don't think it fixes anything or helps anything. A lot of Koreans say to spin it, so you create like a little bit of a whirlpool in there. Whirlpool, tornado, whatever you want to call it. And that's supposed to mix up everything that's bad in there. And like that's how I've heard it worded. Mix it up so the bad stuff is mixed up and it's off the bottom, which is that a good thing even if it did do that, which I don't think it does that. Okay. Now, ooh, this one's really smooth. Okay, yeah. I think this one's better. Before I was drinking this one. This one's definitely better. I don't want to say significantly better, but it tastes a little better. And I like the bottle. A little bluish tint to it. And then with the soju caps, if you don't know this yet, you have the ring connected to the bottle cap. Okay? Well, one end of the ring. It breaks. One end is still connected to the bottle cap. So I always grab the bottom of that, the base of that ring, and start twisting. I've seen a lot of people, maybe I should say most people that I've seen, don't hold the bottom of that piece of metal, and they just start twisting it, which that's fine, but I feel like then it weakens this base, and the point of doing that is so you can I'll flick it and I'll pass it to the next person in a circle of friends. That person will flick it and that was a bad hit. Then they'll pass it, flick it, flick it, flick it. Oh, that little hit, that counts. Next person, next person. And you keep going back and forth until you break it off. There you go. And so then whoever breaks it off wins. So it's a good thing to break it off. You're not trying to keep it going. Well, you can if you want, but you're trying to hit it off because then the person on either side of you, they have to drink a shot of soju. And so you win, they have to drink a shot of soju. Then, before playing that game, we usually put a little piece of paper, Kleenex, something in there, so that you can't see this number. There's a number in there. It's at least 0 through 50. It might be 1 through 50. The number for this one's 21. And so the winner of that last game knows the number. So it's 21. Then you go around the circle. The next person guesses 10. The person with the number says higher. Next person guesses 30. The person with the number says lower. So then you know it's between 10 and 30. So the next person has to guess between 10 and 30. And it keeps going around the circle until somebody guesses the number. And sometimes, because this is 21, sometimes the last person said 20 and the next person said, sorry, one person said 20, the next person said 22, and then the next person has to say 21. So they know they're going to have to say the number. When you say the number and win, you're not really winning that game, you're losing. You have to take a shot of soju. So there's 2 games just with the cap from the soju. So every single bottle of soju, you can do that. So here's bottles of soju with the caps. You just twist it. You don't even need to play a game right away. You can save them for later. This is the pomegranate top, and it's 13.5%. So before I was saying it was around 13%, it's 13.5%. Okay, so the kombucha kombucha soju was good. It was clean. Well, it tasted clean. I haven't drank enough to get a hangover off of it yet to know if it's like good quality and won't give you a hangover very easily, but at least tastes pretty good. And this one is 16.5%. So yeah, 16.5%. Says on the back. It also says it on this. Oh, and this top, sometimes they break off like this. I've had that happen on these kinds of bottles as well. I don't know if that's a mistake and it just didn't break off how it's supposed to, or if certain brands might break off like this and you can't play that game with it. Or maybe their thinking is you could twist 2 of them and have 2 games going from each bottle, which you could do. I don't know. I haven't done that yet, so maybe I'll test that sometime and see if that game works as well. Also, I'll try to keep track of the bottle tops that broke off like that and see if that's just something that different companies do. Maybe they do it on purpose. Maybe it is an accident, but maybe it happens more often with certain companies, certain brands. So this one doesn't taste as clean, as good. It's Jinro soju. It also has a cool label on it. It has some Chinese characters on it, some English, Korean. It has the frog on it, or toad. It's more like a toad. And the toad is a classic character for them to have on their soju. And I like Jinro. But honestly, I think I like this one more. And this is the first time I've had this one. Jinro, not as impressed I'm not as impressed as I thought I would be. It's not bad though. That's an example of one where it's like, oh, tastes like soju. Doesn't taste really good, doesn't taste bad. It's soju. Nothing wrong with it. Okay. And it's kind of a habit of mine to do this just because Koreans do it all the time. And it's not like it's hard to do. It's not like it's inconvenient. I just don't think it actually helps anything. I haven't tried this one yet. I'm excited for this one. It really smelled like grapes. It smells and tastes like Korean grapes. not just grapes. It tastes and smells like Korean grapes. Anyone that's been to Korea, from Korea, whatever, if they've had grapes in Korea, then they know what I mean. And I'd say it kind of tastes, yeah, it tastes like the grape juice that you buy at like CU, Family Mart, grocery store, wherever, like a convenience store, a grocery store in Korea. Tastes like that grape juice. It's good. It's not as good as the pomegranate one. I'd say it's maybe not. It's also not as good as the grapefruit one, but it is good. It does taste like grape. In the U.S., a lot of times you get something that's supposed to be grape flavored. It's not really grape flavored. It's their version of what grape flavor is, and then they just stick with it. Like certain candies and drinks where it says grape flavored, but it's really just purple flavored, like purple grape juice, grape drink, purple drink, whatever. It's not always actually grape flavored. But you can see that one goes down pretty easy. I mean, this one's also... Oh, this one's 14%. So the pomegranate was 13.5. This one's 14%. And again, this is a 12-ounce bottle, 360 milliliters. This one has that number again. The last one, the pomegranate said 0.5%. This one says 0.3%. I think that's saying how much actual juice there is in there. It says Chammodo Wachub, something like that. And I'm assuming that means how much juice there is in it. And you can see that it says charm on it. And in Korean above that it says Sokan. Sangchom, Dalgom. And I'm not fluent in Korean, obviously, but I can read Korean okay. And I don't know exactly what that means. And I probably butchered it, didn't say it correctly. But I'll try to read them just to give the effort, try. Some people in Korea wonder, why are you speaking Korean? They know English here. It's like, well, I'm in Korea. Even if I only know enough Korean to say 10% of what I'm saying in Korean, I'm going to say Korean, and I think I should say Korean. It's respectful, but also I'm being active in trying to learn Korean. I'm not just a stupid American living in Korea, not speaking the language. I don't know. It's also fun to learn a second language. This is the first time. Korean is the only second language I've really tried to learn. Okay, this one is 16.9%. And I kind of hate to see this one at 16.9% because I used to drink this all the time. Has a little, looks like a bird here, has that little guy. Honestly, I used to drink this one all the time when I was studying abroad in Korea. First time I lived in Korea teaching English. And it sucks that it's not as high alcohol content. It was at least 19 point something, if not 20% alcohol before, and now it's 16.9. Yeah, 16.9% for a 360 milliliter bottle, or 12 ounces. That's really not bad for $1.50 to $2. They're usually about $1.50 to $2. And it's really cheap for what this is. But still, it used to be a higher alcohol content. I think they lowered the alcohol content. I've heard a lot of different stories. I think it's because, based off of what I've heard from Korean friends, they were trying to get people to not drink as much. So they figured, oh, let's lower the alcohol content. Maybe they'll drink the same number of shots, but it's less alcohol, so they won't get as drunk. and we won't have as many problems with drinking and driving and fights and whatever. Which fighting really isn't that big in Korea. Drinking and driving, I could see that being an issue, except for the fact that there's so much public transportation, it shouldn't be an issue. But I could see it being an issue just because there's so many people and there's so many cars around, so it could be an issue. Anyways, let's try it. I'd say this one tasted the same as the General. Either the same or close enough that it was basically the same. Yeah, again, just like the General, basically just tastes like soju. Sour water, watered down vodka, however you want to word it. Again, it's not bad. It's just not something where I'd be like, oh, this brand, it's the best. You gotta buy this one. It's delicious. At least so far of the ones I've bought and I have on the table. The flavored ones, those all taste awesome. Those are great. No complaints there. Pomegranate one's definitely the best, but the other two, the grapefruit and the grape, no complaints. But the pomegranate was the best. This one, I'd say, is the best unflavored one that I've had, at least recently. So it's 16.9%, so it's the same as the other ones, the same as the other unflavored ones. And I'm assuming this one, well, the funny thing is, so these two are both unflavored soju. This is unflavored soju. I'm assuming these three are all going to taste exactly the same to me, except they shouldn't, because this one is 20.1% alcohol. That was another reason that some people were saying maybe why they changed the alcohol percentage, because they were like, oh, lower alcohol, even lower alcohol percentage, so it's even easier to drink. But let's try it. Okay, well, I guess technically in the back of my throat, like really far back, I can taste a little bit more alcohol, partly because I was looking for it, I was tasting for it. But I think the taste is the same as this 16.9%. This one's 20.1%. I think this one tastes the same. It maybe has, so it definitely has, I can taste the alcohol a little bit more. It also maybe has a little bit more of a lingering taste. So that might be a good way to word it. This one, a little bit less alcohol. You can taste that a little bit. And then also the flavor, the taste, everything, it lingers for less time. There's less of an aftertaste, and the aftertaste stays for less time. This one, the 20.1% cham, this says cham. This one definitely has more of an aftertaste, and it stays a little bit longer. Sticks around a little bit longer, but it's not bad. It's I'd say about the same flavor wise. Just you can taste there's a little bit more alcohol, and then the aftertaste, I don't want to say it's definitely not harsh in any way, But I was gonna say it's harsher, but it's not, I don't want to say that because it's so easy to drink. It's just the flavor sticks around a little bit longer. It's not harsh though. Okay, this one is the 25% alcohol. And this one is new to me as well. This one has the same little guy up there as this one. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be good quality, because this one was good. I liked it. It's a really good, clean flavor. Okay, I can feel the shots a little bit. I mean, been drinking a little bit. I didn't drink before this video. Okay. Well, I'm more confused than, or sorry, I shouldn't even say confused. Surprised than, like, having a hard time drinking it. Like, maybe I made a face like, oh, it's gross. But honestly, more just trying to figure it out. I don't know if it's because it's a higher alcohol content or because it's also soju, so it's higher alcohol and bad quality. Which, I feel bad saying that, but honestly, soju is not that great quality stuff. But this tastes more like vodka than the other ones. Doesn't burn. Still doesn't burn at all. No burning. It's just the flavor. The flavor is a little bit closer to vodka. I don't even want to say it tastes like vodka, but it's closer to tasting like vodka. So again, I'll use this one kind of as a base. This one tastes, like I said, just like soju, basic soju. Nothing wrong with it, nothing great with it. Cheap, simple, tastes fine. I want to say it tastes good, but especially with food, with like some samgyeopsal, some Korean barbecue, tastes good. This one would be good if I already had a few drinks, or this would be good for makgeolli. Koreans like to mix soju and beer. So this is soju, this is soju, makgeolli is beer. And you mix the two. Obviously this isn't beer, but I'm just holding these up. So soju, beer. Soju and beer is makgeolli. Mac is soju and makgeolli mixed together. Somak. It's a big thing in Korea. Somak is good. It would probably be good for this one because it's a little bit higher alcohol content. Flavor is a little bit stronger. Hits you a little bit more in the back of the throat. Definitely has more of an aftertaste. And not like a good grapefruit, grape, or pomegranate aftertaste. Like those aftertastes were good. This one, not as good. It's not bad. It's just, yeah, I'd rather have grapefruit or pomegranate taste in the back of my throat instead of an alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, bad quality vodka taste. Okay. But yeah, this would be really good for Somak. I think so. Next time I'll have to try that. I don't have any beer in the apartment right now. So this one I recommend for Somak. So maybe you'd only need to put 3/4 or half as much as you normally would in the glass of beer because this is higher alcohol content. And then you could have more beer in there. And it really isn't that strong of a flavor. It's stronger than this one. But it's not that high about... that's not that strong of a flavor. So I think it would still be really good Somak. Anyways, this one's good as well. Okay, now that I have a decent buzz going, I'm going to make some dinner. If anyone has any questions about soju, let me know. And I bought some other stuff at the grocery store, like some port wine. This port wine was only $2, maybe even less. It was like 2,100 won. So that's less than $2, just a little bit less. So I bought all of the soju that I opened today, the port wine, and some blood sausage, like a kilogram of blood sausage, all the soju, the port wine, all for about $15 US, maybe a little bit less than $15 US, so that's really good. Anyways, sun's going down, it's dinner time, I've got a good buzz going, I need to get some food in me. Have a good day.